Welcome to the Imaginative-ish. Hope you all are doing good. So in the previous part, we have almost completed modeling everything like trees, rocks, island, how to create water shader, animate water, and we have also created a boat, a dog, and set the environment. If you have already watched those videos, then congratulations, you are about to complete this amazing stylized sunset view. Okay, so today we are going to use the Geonodes to place our objects. We also cover how to use weight paint, and in the last we will see how to set our cameras or switch between multiple cameras. So without any further delay, just dive in. So here in the viewport, first we'll select our ground, then we'll go to the geometry nodes and you can see the Geonodes over here. Then here we are going to add distribute point on faces in between those group input and group output. Now you can see these faces. Now on these faces we are going to add our instances. For that we'll search for instance on points and place it over here in between distribute points on faces and group output. Now you can see this instance option. Here we are going to connect our collection. We'll select the collection from here, but before that we'll change this to poison dust. And now you can see it's not visible, nothing is visible over here, so we'll search for collection info and add our collection over here with this node. So we'll connect this instances to instance, and here we'll select one of our collection, and for now I'm selecting rocks. Now you can see the rocks over here, but the ground is not visible. So for that we have to connect this group input to the group output. So we'll search for join geometry and place it over here, and then we'll connect this group input to this join geometry like this, and now you can see this ground is visible. Okay, so this is the Geonode setup for the rocks. You can see, I'll zoom it so you can see this clearly. Okay, now you can see if I zoom in, go to the material preview and zoom in, so these all are in the groups and seems too odd. So first we'll increase their size, we'll scale them up, and now you can see them clearly. So we want them to be placed randomly. For that we'll check this separate children, reset children, and here in the instances we'll check this pick instance. Now you can see they are randomly placed all over the ground. You can also change this distance minimum value and this density max value. This will decrease or increase the distance between these rocks, and from here you can change their size. Now if I zoom in, so you can see they all are of the same size, but I want them to be of the random size. If you've watched them carefully, then for that we'll add random value here and map this value to the scale. Now we can set our minimum and the maximum value for their size. If I zoom in and set its minimum value up to 1.5, then the size of the smallest rock will be 1.5 and the maximum will be 5. So this is the setup, final setup. for the rocks. Now you can see they are placed all over this ground, so we don't want that. So to solve this issue, we'll use the weight paint. You can also press Ctrl tab to switch between these modes, or either you can switch from there. Okay, so here in the weight paint you can see when I draw, you saw these different colors. Red means it have max density. As the color fades, the strength will decrease accordingly. Okay, as Ctrl Z is an option for the undo, but here in the weight paint you can press Ctrl and select for the undo. Next, here we are going to map this to the density factor, and here you can see this density factor option. We'll click on this plus button, and you can see this nothing is visible over here. So we'll go to the vertex group, but before that, here in the density factor we'll select these point position, then we'll create a new vertex group, rename it as rocks, and now instead of this position we'll select the rocks. Now if you draw now, you can see the rocks on the surface. Now you can draw them according to you, but I'm using this only on the edges because other portions are not visible when we set our camera, so I want them to be on the edges of this ground. I can press Ctrl to remove that weight paint. Okay, it seems nice. You can see. We'll back to the render view, and here we'll switch to the object mode. And you can see the rocks on the surface of this ground. Okay. So we'll go to the modifiers, and now here we are going to add the geometry nodes, and we'll duplicate the same node setup from here, and we'll click on this paper option, which is used for duplication. Then we'll rename this new geonode setup as geometry node trees. We're going to use the same setup for the trees too, so we'll rename it as tree. And now I can see the setup over here. So here in the collection, instead of rocks, now we are going to select trees, just like this. Okay, before adding the trees, make sure to reduce this density max value, otherwise your scene will crash too. And don't forget to save your files time to time. Save your file time to time. Okay, now we'll set this min or max value for the trees. And if we go to the render view, you can see it seems quite nice. It's quite dense and colorful too, as we have give two different colors to the trees. Okay, from here now we'll change the distance, minimum distance value, because they are overlapping. So to avoid this, we'll increase this distance min value. Okay, seems nice. I'll increase it up to 6.7, and this is the Geonode setup for the trees. Next, we'll repeat the same thing for the trees as we did for the rocks. We'll go to the weight paint. Here we are going to create new vertex group. We'll rename it as trees, and here we'll select, go to this density factor and select the trees instead of the rocks. Now if you draw, you can see the tree on the surface. Now we'll just draw on all over the surface of the ground. If you want them to be more dense, you can increase the density max value and decrease the density distance min value, so it will be more dense. And if we'll go to the object mode and then we'll go to the camera view, here in the render view, if we saw them, so I think I have to increase the density max value. So we'll select this, go to the geometry nodes and make sure to select this geometry node tree option. So we'll change the value of the correct nodes. Okay, after increasing the density mix value, I think it's quite cool. I can see the setup. If you want this to be more dense, just change the value according to you. Next we are going to add rocks over here. So we'll select this plane and go to the geometry nodes. In the modifiers, select geometry nodes and select the same setup for the rocks from here. Now we'll duplicate this and rename it as river rocks. Like this, and here we'll increase these values. I'll keep this value up to 0.001, and here you can see in the render view, this seems nice. You can also change the minimum and the maximum size. So I'll decrease its maximum size because I don't want them to be too big. Okay, cool. Next, back to the solid view. Select this, and now we are going to set the environment. For that, we'll duplicate this and grab it along x-axis, rotate it along z-axis, grab it and place it over here. Now if you go to the modifiers, then here we don't want these rocks on its surface because they are not visible from this far, so we'll just delete them. Now if you go to the render view, it seems quite nice. You can also rotate that slide to set the shadows. I'll duplicate it one more time and place it over here. Grab it along y-axis. Okay, I'll grab it little. And here is the view. We have almost completed everything, as you can see. Next, here we'll back to the solid view now, and we are going to animate our river. So select the river, go to the shading tab, and here we open one more. We'll open a timeline over here. Then we'll set our end frames up to 500. After setting this, now we are going to change the W value. So we'll go to the frame number 1, and here we'll change the W value to 0. and insert a keyframe by pressing I to this. You can see the keyframe over here. Then we'll go to the frame number 500, change the value of W. I'll keep it 30 and press I to insert the keyframe, and you can see the keyframe over here. Select them, press T and select the linear. Same for the location. We'll go to the frame number 1 with value 0. We press I to insert the keyframe. Go to frame number 500, change the value of X to 0.9, press I to insert the keyframe, select the frames. Okay, then we'll go to the layout, and here it's not visible. Go to the render view. Then you can see here the water is moving if you hit the space bar. Okay, seems nice. Next, what we are going to do, we are going to add mist. For that, first we'll render our image. You can also press F12 to render your image. Then we'll go to the compositing tab. From here, check this use node button, and you can see the node over here. Okay, we'll open our 3D viewport on this corner. From here, we'll go to the camera view, and then we'll go to the render view. Okay, so for adding the mist, back to the layout. Here we'll select our camera, and here in the view layer we'll check this mist option. With our camera selected, we'll go to the camera, and here in the viewport display we'll check this mist and limits. And if I'll come out of the camera view, you can see this line over here. And then we'll go to the world properties, and here in the mist pass I'm going to set the limits. As you can see, if I'll zoom, I'll set the start point from 0 because I want this to be from the very beginning, and the depth is like length. I'll keep it a little far. I'll increase it up to 750, and you can see this point over here. I'll move it a little more, so I'll just increase its value up to 850. Okay, seems nice. Then back to the compositing, and here if you can't see these nodes, go to the preferences and check for node wrangler add-on. Next, we'll connect this mist to the image in the viewer and render our image again. Back to the compositing, and you can see this black and white image over here. Okay, now we'll add alpha over node and place it in between the image and the viewer node. I can see it seems white, so we'll turn off this backdrop image, and here we'll move this and turn on our compositor in the render view. Here in the compositor we'll turn it as always. Okay, so next we'll map this mist to the factor, and you can see the mist is visible in the viewport. You can change the color of the mist from here. You can choose any color: blue, green, white, red. I'll set this value. You can see the hex value from here. Next, I want to add color ramp in between this mist and the factor. So I can set the mist. Okay, if you drag these, you can see the difference by yourself. If I change the color of this to like grayish and move this mark, you can see if I move this, then these trees are not visible, but I want them to be visible, so I'll drag it over here and change its color to like grayish. You can see the trees at the background are not visible, so we'll change the color of this, and this is the scene. If you want them to be more visible, just change this color to a dark color like this, and you can set the colors according to you. If I'll set this bluish color, it also seems nice, and if you want it to be white, you can change it according to you. Okay, so here in the render view it's not visible, so we'll go here and turn this always, check this always button. Now we'll go to the camera, and here we'll click on this depth of field option. I can see it's going to be blur, so we'll drag this and select a focus object. So from here I'll select this Bezier curve, the rope, and you can see now it seems nice and it's blurred from the background. Okay, so this is the notes for adding the mist in the viewport. Okay, so in the last we are going to set our camera. So go to the frame number 0, select your camera and press K to add a keyframe. Select this location rotation option. Now I'll move to the frame number 149. Move my camera to this side, and if you can't move this, turn on this camera to view option. Then I'll add one more keyframe over here at frame number 149. Now select these, press 3 and check this linear option and press the space bar, and you can see our camera is moving. Okay, so it seems nice. Now we'll switch to our second camera. For that, go to the frame number 149, and here with frame number 149 we are going to press Ctrl B, and you can see the camera over here. Then we'll go to frame number 150. Here you can see only one camera. Then we'll come out of the camera view, and now I'm going to duplicate this camera. So press Shift D and duplicate this, and now here you can see camera number 001. So we'll press Ctrl B to add it to the timeline, and then we'll back to the camera view. Here we'll move our camera to some another position. Okay, set your camera and press K. Okay, before adding the keyframe, just delete this previous camera's keyframe. Select your camera, so your second camera, and delete these keyframes that we have duplicated, and add new keyframe to this here. Then we'll move to frame number 299 and move our camera. We'll press K and insert the keyframe. Again we'll select these keyframe and press T and select the linear option. Now if you hit the space bar, you can see we have successfully switched between two cameras. So here again at frame number 299, we'll press Ctrl B, and then we'll go to the frame number 300. We'll duplicate our camera. You can see camera number 001. Then we'll duplicate, and here we have our third camera. So we'll press Ctrl B to add this to the timeline. Then we'll go to the camera view, render view. Okay, we'll move our camera to a different position. Okay, I'll set this over here and add a keyframe to it. Then I'll go to the last frame, that is 500, and rotate my camera. Add a keyframe to it. Select this keyframe, press T and select linear. Then here we'll animate this. We'll press spacebar to play this animation, and you can see our cameras are moving. It seems difficult, but trust me, it's easy. If you have any confusion, you can comment down below. Okay, so it seems, I think, nice, and we have almost completed everything. But yeah, if you want to slow down their speed, just move these keyframes like this, and you can see the animation is going slow down. Hope you like the video. That's all for now, and just stay tuned for more such content, and thanks for watching.